everyone, thank you so much for tuning in. I'm Tam from Why You Can Too and the Avatar Collective. There's no mistake that you're here. Thank you for watching from wherever you are around the world. I'm going to do my best to stir your soul and to show you what's possible. So many of you would know that I have created training as a result of tragedies that I have been through, and I believe that nothing happens to, it only happens for you, and to seek the beauty, to surrender, to let go, and to trust the divine guidance that flows in, see what shows up, and look for those important signs and the synchronicities that show. Get over yourself, get over the fear, and just jump and do it anyway. And that's what I've done, creating the businesses. First Aid Why You Can Too. You can too, helping people discover their why by deciding they can so they can live a life that they deserve. And my current business with my wonderful business partner, Mr. Samakoli, the Avatar Collective, where we showcase people's products, services, online training so that they can work with what they do. Their expertise is to continue to create and allow us to share them to the world, do the marketing for them, so we come together in a collaborative, global online marketplace. Those of you would know that we've just introduced our own crypto as another payment option, which has allowed us to offer the publishing company, the magazine, and lots of other opportunities to really just showcase them to the world. So how does all that happen? Many years ago, I realized my gifts of connection. You see, at that time, I was not well myself. I was in a career of engineering, which no longer fulfilled me in the Air Force. I did love it, but I just couldn't see myself doing it forever, and I wanted change, and I had no idea what that change was. So many of you would know that I manifested a massive tragedy, and the thing is, I take responsibility for that because I believe that I manifested it because it took on someone else's pain, but also that actually became something that assisted me to pivot and to overcome and to do things myself. In that journey of not being well, I would link arms with people, and every single month we'd come together and attune energy for the desire to create a healing space for other people that have healing complications to come together without having to pay the huge costs. We wanted it to be about education and to be able to allow people that could afford to come in and pay the higher costs, so that it would open it up for the people that may not be able to be in that situation, that did need the healing, to be able to come and receive the healing. We wanted it to be an education place, and we surrendered. We did not have the desired outcome. We surrendered, we let go, we came together, we sent the energy to the outcome that we desired, and each month we'd come together to meet again, and each month my gifts were connection. So each month I would come together with more people, from solicitors to architects to naturopaths to everyone in health. So I was the one that was the engineer that was not well. So along the journey, my head started to question and wonder, who are you? All of these wonderful people that I was manifesting that were coming to my light, but who am I ultimately? We were given land, not once, but twice, to be able to build a facility. And through different things, it changed, but just as much as we manifested one place, and through legal complications, we manifested another. This is without any money being exchanged, I might add. So what we created was absolutely phenomenal, out of this world. We just could not believe it. And I knew at the right time it would come back together, because what happened when the tragedy occurred with our baby boy, where I had to save his life, and I was so blessed, and I wanted to bang my tambourine and continue to get the message out there to the world, to share my story, to actually teach people the lessons that I learned from the mistakes that occurred that particular day. And so because I fell apart and I wasn't part of the collaboration anymore with the healing retreat or the healing space, it fell apart. I absolutely know that I'm the connections queen. I'm the conduit that brings it all together. And what you do need is the focus to be able to do that. So I knew at the right time it would come back together. So it's exciting, and that's exactly what's happening. All right people are coming, and you're just going to be blown away what we're going to be creating. And it's just this first stage, a first step of what we will create, because the right people are coming. what I love on my journey is being able to help people, to link arms with them. And so when I discovered these shoes, I likened myself to Dorothy on the yellow brick road. Isn't that wonderful story that fosters the imagination, that fosters hope and inspires us to show what's possible? That's totally my life. So linking arms with people, allowing the best people and the resources to come in to guide, to link arms and to bring people with us. That's the story of Dorothy and the Wizard of Oz. So when I saw these shoes, I was like, oh my goodness, these are incredible, because that represents my whole life. However, recently what actually happened is during my time as an engineer, I fell off an aircraft work stand and I broke my back. Along the journey, I had major surgery. I had to learn how to walk again. And then along the journey, what happened from there is my hands started to deteriorate. And so being an engineer, and because I was pregnant at the time, they made the decision to do carpal tunnel surgery because they thought that's what it was. Again, another lesson in my life is to never assume. But anyway, despite the fact I had to go through the surgery, I was bound up for 6 weeks. I couldn't even go to the bathroom and wipe my bottom when I was pregnant. It was pretty crazy, but it's just what I went through. Moving forward, 15 years, my hands started to deteriorate again. You can see they're swollen again now, and they started to let go. So I went back to my hand therapist to actually get the relief that I needed. And it was her decision to say, it's no longer carpal tunnel. You need to do some investigations here, because what your hands are doing is related to your neck. Move forward, having the MRIs, having the nerve studies done, which was like the torture chamber. I thought, yay, that's great, because I'm in pain. That means that possibly I haven't done any damage. However, when I fell off the aircraft work stand, the surgeon could tell the injuries that I sustained were around that same time. So sadly, I actually have, I'm meant to have major surgery to remove more discs to fuse. Now, I was listening to Tony Robbins' Life Force, a podcast just recently, and I was blown away because he was sharing yet again another similar story. I too was on the snow ski fields in Japan just before when this pandemic happened. An uncontrolled skier came down, knocked me flying. I went flying in the air and landed on my shoulder. And that's exactly what happened with Tony. However, when Tony did it, it was highlighted that he had the neck injury. So there's the similarity yet again. So further investigation, they told him the same news. I was like, what on earth? What is the chances of this? And I was listening to him a day or two after I'd been to my surgeon when he gave me the news as well. And my reaction was the same as Tony's reaction, was like, no, sorry, I'm not having surgery. See, for me to think about having the surgery means that if I'm fused in my lower back, which I already am, my upper back has to work twice as hard as it does, because it's literally like rock, just to keep me upright. So even though I can still do things, I'm very disabled because I can bend to touch my knees, but I can't bend to touch my toes. And that does require extra things to be able to get around. So thinking about what I've achieved since by doing the Kokoda Trail in New Guinea, carrying a 25-kilo pack, the marathons, the half marathons, the life-saving, all of these kinds of things, you know, technically I shouldn't have been able to do, but it was the mindset that pushed me through. However, having the thought of having the surgery where it will be restricted. So they would take these discs out, they would fuse me just as they did in my lower back, and I would not have much movement. Like I probably wouldn't be able to move my head like that too much. And then already my upper back is twice as hard. So what kind of impact am I going to have then? So it made me think, wait, I need to stand in my power, seek alternatives. So there is the stem cell that I am looking at that Tony has benefited from, and look at alternatives and not be dictated and controlled, because I am not the Tin Man. I am Dorothy. Sometimes we need to remember that we don't need to be put in a box. We don't need to be dictated to. We need to remember to go back to us, to our inner self, to our having the faith to follow the divine energy that comes into our heart and follow our truth, and not be dictated, but stand in our power and just tell them what you want. Don't be afraid. Don't be dictated. But ensure that they understand your feelings, because it is your life and we are here for an abundant life. And if our life can be tricky by having to not be able to move, I'm 50. But if I'm here for another 40, 50 years, in that situation, life can be very different. But if I seek alternatives and don't become the Tin Man and see the unlimited possibilities that exist and continue to be Dorothy, bring loads of people with me, link arms on this, stir their soul to show them what's possible, that's what I'm about. So thank you so much for tuning in again. It means so much to me from wherever you are around this wonderful world. I'm Tam from the Avatar Collective and Why You Can Too. It's my desire to get you to discover your why so that you can decide that you can, so that you can live a life that you deserve too. And if I can do this, guess what? You can too. Thank you so much for tuning in. Have a great evening. Bye for now.